Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my recipe for these Bunjal golden apples. Now, basically, this is just golden apples that is cooked down with lots of spices, lots of pepper and garlic, and honestly, it is super delicious. You can eat it on its own, you can eat it alongside multiple other dishes, or you can eat it almost like an achar. I did use whole golden apples to make this recipe, but if you wanted to chop them into smaller pieces, feel free to do that as well. So let's get into the recipe. The first thing that we're going to do is in a heavy bottom pot, we're going to add in a good amount of oil. Now the reason why I'm using so much oil is because this is something that can stay in your fridge for about up to a month, as long as you put in enough oil to sort of preserve it. My family, we eat this like a condiment. We don't really eat it on a dish by its own, but if you guys wanted to eat it by itself and use less oil, then feel free to do so. Today I'm using the garlic as well as a mixture of red and green chilies. If you wanted to use wiri peppers or Scotch bonnet peppers, any type of pepper you have on hand, feel free to do so. And as you guys can see, the oil is not screaming hot, and the reason being is because peppers and garlic tend to burn very quick. So I have it on about a medium heat, and I'm just going to let this fry up for about 30 seconds to a minute so it can perfume and flavor that oil. After about a minute, you're going to notice this beautiful smell coming from the garlic and peppers. It should not be burning or sticking, it should just be sizzling up in that oil. That's exactly what you want. So at this point, it is time to go in with Amchar masala. Now this Amchar masala is the chief brand, and this is the preferred Amchar masala that I like to use. Now if you didn't want to use Amchar masala and you wanted to use regular Guyanese masala and curry powder to make this, you can do that as well. This is just the way that my family prefers it and the flavor that they like. But if you wanted to use regular curry powder and masala, feel free to do that as well. I'll leave the measurements and all of the ingredients in my description box right below the video. All you need to do is click right below the video and the drop-down menu will appear. Now once you've stirred around that Amchar masala for a little bit, you're going to go in with a couple tablespoons of water, just so this way it can sizzle up and it can cook the Amchar masala. Amchar masala tends to be a very grainy product, so you want to make sure you cook it properly. You're going to notice that after this mixture cooks down a bit, that the oil starts to release back from the mixture. That is how you know that the Amchar masala has cooked down properly. So what we're going to do now is go in with some roasted ground geera, also known as roasted ground cumin. This is just going to help build up the flavors a little bit more. And I'm also going to be going in with a couple tablespoons of sugar. What the sugar is going to do is it's going to play around with the flavor of the golden apples. Sometimes the golden apples tend to be a little bit sour, so if you wanted to taste them beforehand, you can, but I always like to go in with a little bit of sugar just for good measure. And at this point, we're also going to be going in with some finely chopped culantro, as well as some finely chopped thick leaf thyme. And you're just going to stir all of these ingredients around for like another 4 or 5 minutes, just so this way everything can cook down and that sugar can begin to caramelize with all of those spices. And just like I do whenever I make any type of curry, I always salt or season my curry paste. So in here, I'm going to go in with a good amount of salt. The reason why I always do this, and I tell you guys the same thing, is because by doing this, you build up the flavors of the dish from the start. By adding in salt later, sometimes it tends to taste a little one note, but by doing all of these different steps, you're going to have a very balanced tasting dish. So this spice mixture has been cooking for about 5 minutes in total. As you guys can see, it looks nice and dark. It's sticking slightly to the bottom. That's because the sugar has started to caramelize. And if you notice that it's burning or it's starting to get burnt, then you want to add in some water before it starts to get black, because if it gets black, it'll be very bitter. So at this point, my mixture is cooked. I'm going to be going in with all of my golden apples. Now these golden apples were peeled and then frozen whole. If you wanted to chop them, you can chop them as well, but I'm going to leave them whole today. Now I have a big tip for you guys. By leaving them whole, they took a long time to cook. So what I recommend is to go ahead and boil them before putting them in here so they're partially cooked. And you're going to keep on mixing these golden apples with all of that spice mixture on a medium to medium high heat and let these bunjay down really well. The more you let these bunjay or sear with all of the spices, the more flavor they take up and the better that the dish tastes. So I'm going to bunjay this for about 5 to 6 minutes and then we can add in our water. So I just wanted to show you guys how awesome this looks now. All of the golden apples have taken on a very nice dark brown color, and as you guys can see at the bottom of the pot, it has started to stick slightly. That is your indication that by searing them and bunjaying them, you are all done. So at this point, I'm going to be going in with water and enough water to cover them plus some. These golden apples will take a pretty long time to cook, almost about an hour if you do not boil them beforehand. So make sure you add in enough water so they can cook down really well. And all you're going to do is cover this and boil it until they are tender or to your liking. You can leave as much gravy or as little gravy as you want. My family prefers it on the drier side, so what I do is I keep on adding in water until they're tender, and once they start to get tender, I'll let it dry up really nicely so it comes back to all the spices and the oil. And after about an hour, my Bunjal golden apples were all done. Again, if you guys wanted to use curry powder and masala in this recipe, you can do that, or you can just use the Amchar masala like I did, but whichever way you do it, you're going to get an amazing tasting dish. Make sure you guys try this recipe for this Diwali, add it to your plate because it is vegetarian, flavorful, and delicious. So if you enjoyed this video today, please don't forget to give it a nice big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. If you are not subscribed yet, come on over and join the Matthew's Guyanese cooking family, and drop those comments down below and let me know what you guys would like to see next. Bye everyone!